Assalamu alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Because if you tell
so the brother black anarchic Riaz said Garvey was a Christian. He was taught by Yusuf Muhammad Ali, a black Muslim from Egypt. And on top of that, a lot of people don't know that Marcus Garvey rated Muslims. He rated them. He loved them. And he always complimented Muslims, right? But when I say Christian, I mean like practicing Christian, not like culturally Christian. Like Marcus Garvey is more of a culturally Christian person. He's Christian, yeah, but he's culturally Christian. Martin Luther King, he's like Reverend Martin Luther King. Like he's a practice like Reverend. Nat Turner, he's like Reverend. You know what I mean? He's Reverend Nat Turner. You get me? That's what I mean. Just keep watching, y'all.
I mean that when you go into a black church and we're dancing and hopping and singing for 4 hours straight, right? Pulling spirits and going into trances like an African would, like a traditional African spiritual ceremony, while we continuously hop up and down calling our African spiritual connection with the divine Christianity, while we continue to utilize Jesus Christ as the deity that we worship, right? As the deity that we use for our spiritual connection, as the avatar, because that's clearly what we're doing. If we worship our Jesus, right, our deity, because African people, we ain't got no problem picking up a deity, because a deity is just an aspect of nature, an aspect of a portion of life that we're trying to figure out, right, or discover. So I see why Africans picked up Christianity, because it just made sense. He was just another figure within many figures that
Africans never picked up Christianity. There is only, okay, let me just bring some nuance to that. There is only one set of Africans that picked up Christianity through osmosis, as I mentioned before. Right? You have your Ethiopian church and your Egyptian Coptic church. That's it. These are in the eastern part of Africa, far east, right? The Ethiopians, they are Semitic people. The Egyptian Coptics are not Semitic, but they became Christian like over 1,000 years ago. Before Islam, they were Christian. Okay, and this is something that is mentioned even in Islam. We all know about Najashi. Okay, Najashi was from that church. He's from that same thing I was talking about. That is these are the only black people in history that developed Christianity through osmosis without the interference of the Catholic Church or colonizers. And their Christianity is not like the Christianity that we get. Any other African that is not from these two, right, got Christianity from colonization. All of them, without exception. It doesn't make a difference if it's West African, Central African, South African. It doesn't make a difference. White people brought Christianity to those through missions and through what else? When they were going to the Muslim countries, they're doing these Christian missions, and they would intentionally pit the local black populations against the Muslim population. And they are the ones who classified the black Muslims as Arab. They're the ones who were doing it. I mean, the Bibles, they know they're Arab and everything like that, but there was no hostilities ever recorded between Muslims and the local populations until white folks came, until colonizers came. You understand? And up until this day, we suffer from the ideas that Orientalists and Western kingmakers have done, pitting Muslims against Christians all over Africa. Boko Haram, American project, has nothing to do with the local African population at all. They are a American project. Israel Young Lion.
Yeah, salam alaikum. Could I be heard?
Yes, walaikum salam. What you got for us, bro?
Nothing much. I'm just here to give salute and basically give this show a shout out, because you're definitely cooking. And I also want to share my own experiences as well. If that's if the time allows.
Go ahead. The floor is yours. We got time.
Yeah, man. So a little background about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a recent revert to Islam.
MashaAllah. Mabruk. Congratulations. Allah reward you and bless you and give you Jannatul Firdaus. I mean, and keep you firm and strong on the path. We're living in times of big fitna, right? So Iman, faith, is the best currency. It is better than money, gold, silver, you name it, right? So if you can hold on to your religion until you die with firmness, it will not go unpaid by Allah. Absolutely not, right? And speaking up for the truth is big jihad in our times. Big jihad. You know what I mean? Like what we're here, right? You know how many people hate us? You know, anyways, you've been watching for a while. People hate us, bro, but they can't refute anything that we're saying. And they can't do it because it's all true.
They can't, because from what I've seen, I'm not saying that I'm the most perfect Muslim. I'm still learning the faith. I'm still trying to do things, the correct way. But from what I've seen coming from the haters, I see a lot of racism.
Yeah.
I see a lot of racism based off the fact that it's not Islamic. Like they're getting this stuff from somewhere. So like a lot of the stuff that you're talking about, they're gonna say, none of this stuff is verified, and there's nothing that's true that the typical white supremacist talk that these other groups have, and then you have with our own people. Like this brother on the screen. Not to put the brother down or anything like that, but this coming from a place of like ignorance. Because
I think he if he heard you say he would understand as well. Like you're not saying that he's an ignorant person, but he's just sincere. He's sincere about the question because he doesn't know. So he's asking because he really doesn't know, and he has his own preconceived thoughts, like many of our people do, right? Because of what they see on social media and the perception that is being portrayed to them. And these are very old taxes. This really started in the 1800s in Sudan, when Orientalists went into the Sudan and started pitting intentionally the native population against the Muslim population, and started spreading all kind of crazy lies, like that these Muslims are enslaving, and they were lying, right? But there's no internet back then. There's no social media back then, so they just believe these white Christians wholesale because they're giving them food, they're giving them all kind of stuff, right? And that's how they essentially came to destabilize people. They come like that. They come with their lies. You get me? There's not a single place that a white Christian colonizer went except that the local population has suffered. Name one place where a white Christian colonizer went and the people have flourished. Name one.
I can't think of any.
Exactly. This is what they do.
It's impossible, because I'm not saying that I've seen all the world, but Uncle Black, shout out to Black Mind.
Black Minds.
I talked to him behind the scenes. I used to be with those. I used to be with the Hebrew Israelite brothers. And I'm not to say that everything that they're saying is wrong, but I used to basically come from that the teachings of like a lot of the people of the scripture, a lot of the people of the book were colored people that they looked like us. And like I would deal with brothers like on the screen, a Pan-Africanist, who would try to make the argument about this is a white man's book, and some Arabs wrote it, or something like that. They try to divert from the argument, and then you're bringing out the proof. You're going into the language. Like I could read Hebrew. You go into the language, and even with you, Bilal, going to the Arabic, you're showing them and you're proving to them that these are not just colonizers that wrote this thing and pushed it on our people, because they have this preconceived notion of just Arabs going into Africa and taking over the western part and all this stuff. Even in my own family, like when I told my mother that I'm Muslim, she was like, why are you following that stuff? Because didn't you know that the Arabs enslaved us? I was like, that's not entirely true, because my parents, they're from Haiti. They were born and raised from Haiti.
Oh, that's all.
And they came, like my mother, she came to America when she was young. My dad more so in his 20s. And I was saying, like, I was like, no, that's not true. Arabs did not enslave us, because first of all, like what proof do you have for that? This is just conjecture that's coming from Pan-Africanists. That Arabs just went over there in West Africa or Central Africa, and then they was beating us over the heads with their Qurans, and that's the narrative that they push. But that's, from what I'm studying, that's not entirely true. The Arabs, they came in peaceably into West Africa. They traded, and then of course, when you're dealing with other people groups, when two people groups are dealing with each other, of course, there's intermarriage, and if there's business, trade, and all that stuff. So the history is not there. And come to find out that I'm learning, and I'm recently learning this stuff, that apparently in my parents' country of Haiti, there were slave rebellions that happened because they were Muslim.
Yep.
I never heard of this stuff before.
That's a fact. A lot of people don't know this.
Paper gold. You see, black folks are chumps. If America were to tell you to bring all the rocks in this country to her, and she'll give you $1 million for it, you'll do it. And the next day she'll tell you we're using rocks for currencies, chump.